2nd, 2024, and this is the Washington Times front page. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The United States and its allies agreed to a massive exchange of political prisoners with Russia, including returning Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and former Marine Paul Whelan to U.S. soil. Jeff Murdoch and Mike Glenn report the two Americans had been imprisoned in Russia on espionage charges the U.S. government rejects as bogus. With 24 prisoners and detainees from the U.S., Russia, and countries across Europe, it was the biggest East-West exchange of prisoners since the end of the Cold War. Several allies had to make painful sacrifices before the deal could go through, U.S. officials said, in particular German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who had to give up a convicted murderer. The White House, as well as Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign, are not commenting on the plea deal made this week between the government and 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Jeff Murdoch reports military prosecutors reached the agreement with Mohammed and two other defendants at Guantanamo Bay. They'll plead guilty to killing nearly 3,000 people in the attacks and will serve life in prison, but not face the death penalty. Harris's campaign said it was a matter for the White House, and the White House in turn said it was a decision made by military prosecutors. Italian Olympic boxer Angela Carini conceded her match to Algerian fighter Imane Khalif, one of two boxers competing in Paris despite being disqualified at last year's World Championships for failing gender tests. In a joint statement, Valerie Richardson reports the IOC and Paris 2024 boxing unit defended the inclusion of Khalif and Taiwan boxer Lin Yuting, saying they complied with all the eligibility rules. It's not a transgender-related issue, as the International Boxing Association disqualified them from last year's Women's World Championships for failing sex tests that showed XY chromosomes, which is possible in women. Last year, however, the IOC banished the IBA as the sport's governing body over judging integrity and financial issues and replaced it with the Paris 2024 boxing unit. Dozens of regional public and private colleges have eliminated jobs and programs this summer to close budget gaps as enrollment and tuition revenues shrink. The cuts, Sean Salai reports, include private Brandeis University in Boston cutting 60 staff jobs to shore up a $2 million deficit, and public Western Illinois University trimming more than 70 staff positions and closing a building to offset a $10 million shortfall. The economizing follows several years of downsizing in higher education. Long-term declines in birth rates, rising costs, and dwindling job prospects for liberal arts graduates have forced a growing number of second-tier colleges to merge or close. Stephen Dinan takes a look at the growth of conspiracy theories surrounding the attempted assassination of former President Trump at a rally last month. After the initial wave of skepticism died down, FBI Director Christopher Wray breathed new life with his testimony to Congress last week, in which he seemed to question Trump's account of a bullet hitting him. The FBI walked back his remarks just 2 days later. And finally, Andrew Salmon reviews a new Taiwanese television thriller featuring a what-if scenario that dramatizes a potential invasion of the island by China. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.